Hey guys, what you're about to watch is a training that I had with a bunch of wholesalers on how to scale their wholesaling business by implementing the inbound process that we do. So if you don't know me, my name is Fidel. We do 5 to 10 deals every single month while only spending $6,000 to $10,000 a month only on Facebook ads. And this is what gets us to $100,000 per month. So if you're a wholesaler or a flipper who's already doing deals, it's in the best if your interest to watch the full video and know exactly how you can implement this into your business. And if you need our help, click on the link in the description down below. That way we can help you scale your business. And if you want to learn about our Facebook ads program or for us to help you scale to 50K a month or $100,000 per month, we can do it. So watch the training and I'll catch you at the end.
All right, guys. So for those who don't know me, my name is Fidel. I've been wholesaling for the last 4 years, and everything that we do today comes directly from inbound marketing and systems. We don't do any cold calling or chasing after people, and we run more than a 10x return on our ad spend by focusing on inbound ads that are pain-based. That way we call our specific motivated sellers, and we are really good with the sales process. So we can either flip the homes, wholesale the houses, do novations, and sometimes we refer some leads to realtors, and we still make a commission on different things, right? So we have done over 300 real estate deals, and now my team runs basically without me because our marketing and our systems are really good, and that's why we are very consistent. But before we begin, I want to go over three important things that I do in all of these. Number one, what I'm about to share with you is something that is not typical, right? So it goes against what a lot of the gurus out there say. So I need you guys to pay attention because I know that if you pay the attention and you put in the action, you're going to get success, right? Now, two is, of course, information alone is not going to change your business. You actually have to put in the work and have the actions in order for you to have your success. So as long as we agree on those two things, it's great. And then agreement three, in the end, I'll invite some of you guys to apply to work with us, only if it makes sense. And after I earn your trust and show you exactly how we can help you scale. So, the way that, just so you know, you're in the right room, of course, is for people who are trying to get into real estate wholesaling or want to get to 10K a month, or maybe you're making already 10 to 30K a month. You want to get to 40, 50, 60, $100,000 per month. This is for you. And then this is not for you if you are unwilling to run paid ads. You need to have a budget of at least $1,500 to $2,000, depending on your market. So if you're just starting out, at least just listen and know what's possible and then have a plan. So when you close your first deal, you know exactly what you need to do. Also, for people who are looking for shortcuts or people who are not going to put in the work to actually make sure that they are actually successful, right? So it's also for operators who maybe are doing something else or doing the other marketing channels. I want to show you exactly how to implement inbound ads. That way you get precise deal targeting and making sure that you actually get consistency, right? Because I see a ton of people who just overcomplicate the business. And for me, I always say wholesaling is about cash flow, where if you know what you need to do on a marketing side and on the sales side, you don't need to just be chasing after people and working all day. You can really build this to where it nets you 20, 30, 40, 50, 60K a month. So like I said, my name is Fidel. I just became a father. I've been wholesaling for the last 4 years. In the beginning, I started flipping houses and then I transitioned into wholesaling. And then I started running my own inbound over the last year. And since then, our results just went like a 10x, right? So after doing that, a lot of people started asking me what I was doing. So that is exactly how we created this, which I'll go over, right? But before getting in real estate, I actually worked every job you could imagine. I sold cars, which I hated. I worked at a yogurt shop, at a gym, cleaned the toilets. I was a server. So I'm nothing special. And this is just proof that as long as you follow a system and you actually believe that it's possible and you don't give up and you put in the work, you can also have success, right? Because the blueprint has already been set and you don't need to reinvent the wheel. As long as you have a plan and you know exactly what you need to do, you're going to hit it. Now, when I got started in 2022, that's when the market shifted. I actually, like I said, started flipping houses, which led me to lose a ton of money that I didn't have. I raised capital. So the next few months and years, I had to learn how to wholesale and get consistent. That way I could pay my investors back. So everything that I'm about to teach you comes from a lot of pain, experience, and, from paying from a ton of information from your favorite guru that you've probably seen. So I've taken the best stuff from everyone and applied it to like my own into what I believe is the best way to get consistency when it comes to wholesaling, right? Also, I wasted over $400,000 over the last couple of years spending in marketing without tracking my KPIs. Now, if you don't track your KPIs, you're going to lose a lot of money and you're never going to know exactly what is working because you're not tracking. Now, if you haven't done this, don't feel bad because it took me 2.5 years to track my KPIs. And after I tracked them, I found out that I wasted or lost, like I lost on $600,000 by putting money in marketing channels that were not performing, and I could have put that in marketing channels that were giving me a good return. So that is the power of tracking your KPIs. And like I said, we will make a lot of revenue, but I still felt like I had no control because I wasn't tracking my numbers and I wasn't being systematic when it comes to building the business, right? And then the wake up call was actually in 2024. That's around when the election was going on. We had like six-figure months, six-figure deals, but that last quarter was so hard for me in my market. Like nothing was selling. We had like 20 properties listed, and we didn't have a single closing for like 3 months. So I didn't account my cash properly, and I thought we were gonna go out of business. And I felt super broke, stressed, depressed, ashamed. And I'm like, after making all this money, how is it that, I kind of ran out? Which made me look back into my business, right? And kind of go over like all the things that I was doing wrong and also looking at my marketing and just realizing that, okay, like I'm working way too hard not to make and net the money that I want to net, right? But something that I figured out was marketing is one of the most important skills in wholesaling because when it comes to sales, like once you learn it, you know exactly how to get the deal. You're talking to people, asking questions, finding for the pain. But if we don't ever delegate sales to like somebody else, yeah, maybe we have people in our team, but we control that. So I thought, why should we still delegate our marketing to like an agency or buy leads from here or, do cold calling, when we have social media, we know it works. We're in social media every day. And since I already had ran ads before through an agency, I saw the ads and I thought, well, I think I can make this myself. And actually, Alex Ramosi, one of my biggest mentors, I actually paid and went to his workshop last year. And he talks about in one of his books, when he learned how to run his own ads, he had like a 30x return on his ad spend by him learning how to do it. So that's like the idea. And I figured out like if I was able to do that and I didn't have to do cold calling or grind or rely on an agency, one, I would have way more cash flow. I knew that I was going to perform better. And I knew that once I had that skill, I could just keep on replicating it over and over again. So that is exactly what we did. And since we do that, our business just skyrocketed. We're able to get I think we have like a 12x return on ad spend right now. And we spend less than $10,000 a month and we make over six figures per month, right? So for me, like I was saying in the beginning, wholesaling is about having a cash flow business. And if you know how to put the right people in there, whether you are a solo operator or later on you want to hire someone else, if you have the systems and if you have the plan and you know how to do the marketing and the sales, everything just becomes way easier, right? So after I found like what worked for me, and a lot of people started asking me like, "Hey, how are you doing all of this?" I started helping people for free, and then we got on the results. And then we made all of this formally, right? Which our method is called the Arbitrage Wholesaling Method. And like I said, since then my business runs without me daily. We close anywhere from 5 to 10 deals a month. We operate lean and we scale based on data. So there's a lot of people that just chase revenue. And like I said, with wholesaling, it's complex enough where there's a lot of moving parts. For me, I just want to have something that is simple and sustainable, where it gets you to your goal, right? Whether that is to net 10K a month, 20K a month, 30K a month, right? It's possible with real estate. And if you guys are here, there's like people that are having success, right? So it's not that other people are better, just like maybe they have better information or they're better at implementing. So that is exactly why we built it to help other wholesalers. And since that completely changed my business, I can relate to a lot of wholesalers because I've been in your shoes when you work your hardest and maybe you put a deal under contract and then it falls through, or you don't know what next month is going to look like, or you're like always second guessing and you don't have consistency. And I was exactly in your shoes. So I can relate to a lot of you. And after going through all the pain and all the lessons and paying for all the masterminds and all that, I kind of boiled everything down into what I believe is the best way to wholesale. And now, we want to help other wholesalers have the same success because I just see a ton of BS advice out there. And like I said, we work way too hard not to make the money that we want to make. Whether you want to flip houses or wholesale to make cash cash easier, or you want to maximize each opportunity, it's all possible because you control the lead flow and you know exactly what you're building towards, right? So if you guys want to have a consistent marketing channel that gets you motivated leads, people that actually want to sell, type a one in the chat if that's you. And if you want to see exactly how we're doing it and how we are converting these people, because we convert one lead out of every 25 leads from Facebook ads at an average cost of $20 to $30 per lead. So I'm going to show you guys exactly how to do that. And if you have ran ads before, why maybe they sucked or why you didn't have the results if you're doing like other marketing channels. So we'll go over that. Thank you, Diego. Thank you, Emiliano. Thank you, Paulo. Thank you. Thank you, Defoy. Cool, cool, cool. Love you guys are engaging. I know you guys are gonna crush. Now, something that I've seen is like a lot of wholesalers, they think like, oh, I just need to do more, or I need to do this other marketing strategy, or I need to do this other thing, right? And what I often see is they think that they need to spend more money on marketing or chase after the next thing. But at the core fundamental, wholesaling is about talking to people, and it's not about reinventing the wheel in like you're trying to be Jordan Belfort in The Wolf of Wall Street. It's just about having conversations. So to do that, we need to spend money on marketing, get leads, and then we convert them, right? So before we spend more money in marketing, we need to optimize what we already have. And if we fix some of the levers, we don't need to spend additional money doing what we already have, because if we fix some of the stuff within the levers, you're gonna be able to convert way more. So don't think that you need to spend way more money in marketing. So first, we are going to diagnose what's working instead of just spending more money. But kind of like the old way that keeps wholesalers stuck is usually they are relying on marketing that doesn't produce anymore, right? Now I know a lot of people cold call, like some people do well, but the overall majority, the way that the industry is going, now you have iPhone with the new updates where like I get like 30 spam calls a day and I never answer any of them. And if you guys are wholesaling, it's getting harder to reach the actual person, right? The same thing with SMS. There's the 10 DLC regulations where it just makes it way harder and you're like chasing after people that don't want to talk to you. So you're trying to convince them, right? So you have no leverage. What I also see a lot is like they're relying on an agency to fix their marketing and do all this. But why should you pay somebody else if you can actually learn it? And if you learn it, you can make it way better than them and you just make way more profit doing it that way. And I often see that people are using like pay per lead companies, but the thing with pay per lead is you can never control like what they're putting out in the ad. So I've seen some ads that is like, hey, get a free quote on what your property is worth, right? That's a tire kicker. Like nobody's like no one who submits that is like motivated right now. So PPR used to work great a few years ago, but then they got greedy and now they're just trying to sell you cheap leads that come from cold calling or SMS. So you really have no control. And then the other thing is, I see some people that have ran ads before, but they don't know exactly how to attract their ideal seller, right? Because we're trying to talk to people and attract people who are motivated, people who are going through divorce, foreclosure, inheritance, and people who want to sell right now. But if you're going through these things, it often leads to burnout and inconsistency because you don't know exactly what to focus your time on, right? And it makes it worse because you keep on working harder, you hire new agencies, you try a different marketing channel, you start blaming the leads, you're not tracking your KPIs, you're not training on the sales process, and then you stay dependent on like somebody else instead of like having the ownership to make sure that you actually learn how to do this and figure out exactly what it is that you need to fix. Or they start switching, oh, I'm instead of wholesaling, I'm just gonna wholesale land, or now I'm gonna do creative finance, right? And all of this instead of just kind of working harder on what you're already doing, because if you just keep on switching, you're never going to become an expert, right? So you never fix the conversion side, and then you have way more effort, but you keep having the same results. And if I can boil it down to the main things of why I don't think people succeed, comes down to three things. Number one is inconsistent lead flow. Like I was saying in the beginning, it's all marketing and sales. And every marketing channel works. It just depending on how well it works and what it is that you want to do with your business. So for me, like I was saying, wholesaling is about, I'm trying to simplify it as much as we can because it's complex enough, right? We're talking to different sellers. Every property is different. Their situation is different. We need to deal with buyers, agents on the sales side, title companies, all of that. So we're just trying to simplify as much as we can. And like I said, one of the things is like the lead flow. Like sometimes we keep on spending money on stuff that is not working when we can work smarter and attract leads that are more motivated without having to do a whole lot of extra work. Number two is going to come down to sales process. Now, a lot of people blame the leads, but if you don't have a structured sales process where you know like exactly what to ask, how to ask it so that you don't sound like any other wholesaler, or you don't know how to deal with objections or negotiating, I mean, leads alone are not going to turn into contracts, right? So first you have the leads, and then you have a sales process problem, and then third, the most boring one of them all, but the most important is they don't track their numbers, so you don't have no control. So you don't know exactly what your true CAC is, and CAC stands for cost of acquisition, right? How much does it cost you to get one deal? For example, if you make 15K per deal on average, do you know exactly how much it's costing you marketing dollars to make sure that you get one deal, right? And a lot of people don't know that. Like I was in the beginning, like I was saying in the story. So they don't know exactly how much they can spend or if they are wasting money in the other channels because it's not giving them an ROI. So you can't know what you don't track. But if you start tracking it and you can dissect and make data-driven decisions, then it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when it works. But if you don't have these things, it it creates what I call the wholesaler chaos cycle, where, like I said, you do more effort, you get more stressed, but you still make the same income, and it just becomes over and over again, right? So it's not until you're tired of going through that you actually want to make a change, right? But the good news is that there's a way out of this cycle that doesn't require you to work harder, because I already know that you guys can work. It's about working smarter and focusing on the things that actually control the business. So today, I'm going to show you exactly how to build predictable deal flow without guessing what's going to work or without chasing sellers or relying on an agency, but by owning the skills that actually run a wholesaling business, which is marketing and sales. And since we launched this a few months ago, I think it was around April, we have helped over 30 wholesalers get to 30 to 50K per month. And many of these people are closing one contract for every 20 to 25 leads. And we help a lot of these wholesalers cut their cost per deal by 30 to 70%. Meaning if they were paying 3-4 grand per deal and making 15, we can help them get to 1,500 or 2 grand. So we save them even more money by being more efficient. And like I said, we had probably like 10 to 12 who are hitting $70,000 to $80,000 per month by implementing our same process. So what is the new way to wholesale? It's what we call the Arbitrage Wholesaling Ads method, where step one, we need to attract the correct audience, right? Like I was saying, we want motivated sellers. So what is a motivated seller? Someone who's urgent to sell and someone who's going through some sort of financial distress and they're going through pain that we can help, right? Because the only way that we make money is if we solve a big enough problem. And how do we solve a big problem? By asking the right questions and figuring out exactly what's going on. So step one, we need to build our inbound campaign structure where we can get those type of sellers 24/7 by focusing on pain-based ads. Number two is going to come down to the conversion infrastructure. Like I was saying, leads alone are not going to put you in, contract and selling you all these deals. But if you know exactly how to have a repeatable sales process where you know exactly what to ask, uh, the things that you need to say, how to set the expectations, how to uncover the motivation, how to check on the urgency, influencers, all of that, then you learn it and you know exactly what to say and why you're saying it. Because in the end, it's about really connecting with the sellers to make sure that we solve their problem. Because if you don't do it, somebody else will. And the person who cares the most for the seller is the one who's going to get the deal. Number three is going to come down to the deal and spread arbitrage. So we want to increase our average profit per deal from those low 5 to 10K deals to 15, 20, and 25K, right? And how do we do that? By not just using cash offers, we also use novations, listings, and we teach you how to negotiate in order for you to protect your margin. Now you can increase your average deal size. And then number 4, after we know that this stuff is working, that is exactly when we do the optimizations, and that's how we scale. And whether you want to hire somebody new, we teach you and show you exactly how to do that. And that is exactly how you build something that is predictable instead of just throwing spaghetti at the wall. And all of this comes from running my own wholesaling business for the last 4 years, over 300 real estate deals closed, lost so much money flipping houses and making all these mistakes so that you guys don't have to do them. Just follow the plan, follow the blueprint, and build a business that you've always dreamed of building, right? And like I said, I've invested over, probably at this point, it's over $300,000 in coaching and education to figure out exactly what are the main things that you need to focus on in order for you to have consistency, right? And like I said, now my team runs pretty much everything, probably like 80%, where we know exactly what our goal is. My responsibility is to focus on the marketing and holding them accountable, and their job is to perform based on the things that are important to us and what the goal is for that month. So I want to break down exactly how it works, right? So step 1 is going to come down to getting leads, right? So like we use Facebook ads, but the way that we run the ads, like I would say, they are intentional, where we mainly focus on pain-based ads. Now, I like to record ads where I'm the one in the video, but we also use actors, and then we use AI to make pain-based ads. We're calling out people who want to sell fast, people who are going through a divorce, people who are going through foreclosure, inheritance, stuff like that, right? So we do a big mix of different pain points, right? And with the videos that you make, you start building way more credibility and trust. That way you don't sound like every other wholesaler. And like I was saying, in order for me to learn how to do this, I went to the acquisition workshop with Alex Ramosi last year, and I asked her team so many questions. And then ever since we started running it, we started having so many good results. But after we attract them, we want to nurture them, right? So we have 2 ways of doing this. Number 1, you can run them directly to a landing page where you can ask them for their information and stuff like that. But before they submit, they can watch a video of you where you address common, objections. How do you work? How do you help them? And what they need to do in order for them to get their offer, right? And then second of all, you could do it within Facebook itself. So there's something that's called the conditional logic, where you can filter for tire kickers, meaning like whenever they click on the ad, with that conditional logic, you could ask something like, hey, is your property listed on the market with a realtor? And if they click yes, they cannot submit. So Facebook is not going to charge you. And what that is going to do, it's going to find you the people that are most likely to actually submit. So the more information that you give the algorithm, the better your campaign is going to get. But the thing with inbound ads is the better that you get at it, the better that your results get in terms of cost and actually attracting those people, right? And then something else that we do after they submit their information, we send them a nurturing video where I explain who I am, like how exactly do we work, what are the next steps that are going to happen, and some of the common objections that we hear from the sellers, and who is our ideal seller, right? And we let them know, like, hey, if we don't come up to it with a deal, I mean, that's fine. You're still going to know exactly what your options look like. But the main point here is if they're motivated and we're running pain-based ads, our likelihood of talking to someone who has a big problem is going to increase. Therefore, our conversations are going to be way easier and smoother, and they're going to trust us more than the traditional cold calling someone or sending a mailer where it's like, hey, what's your offer? Right? So that's what we don't want. We want to build intentionality within these sellers. So overall, the inbound ads are designed to attract motivated sellers, and the messaging is built around the seller psychology and urgency so that they can sell now and we can solve the problem now. And then we can help you with the market selection based on data and choosing the markets that are hottest, because if you're in a market where stuff is not selling, you're not gonna make money. So we can help you with that, and everything with the creative angles. Like I said, it's to filter out people who are just kind of looking for an offer but not motivated to sell. Step 2 is going to come down to the sales process, right? Like I was saying, leads do not equal contracts alone. We gotta know exactly what happens. And conversion happens after they click on the ad. because everything has to be connected from the ad, from the first call, from the, the follow-up, to what do we say in the sales process. And what I have here is a map where we know exactly what's going on at all points of the conversion, right? Which will teach you exactly like how to do, right? But if the lead comes in, we start the intro call, we set the expectations, we ask what made them inquire, and then we want to find out, are they urgent and motivated to sell? And we have those things. Of course, we ask about the timeline, some brief questions of the condition, motivation, price. So this is like a filtering conversation for us to know if they're a motivated seller. So if they're a motivated seller, then we go through the appointment call, right? Which is digging deep into the motivation and what is going on in their life and what is the main thing that we need to figure out in order for them to move forward with selling the property. And that is where the majority of our time is spent with the sellers, where it's finding exactly what the pain is and coming up with a solution of how we can help it, right? And we address any decision makers, influencers, roadblocks, right? And we set everything up the right way, and we always follow this process. So the power of doing this is after you have a sales process, you can train yourself and your team in knowing exactly what to say, like when to say it, but not just that. You're gonna be able to look back, and if you didn't get a deal, you can look back and be like, oh, I didn't set up the proper expectations, or maybe I didn't dig deep for the motivation. Because what we want is to make deals happen. We are not in the business of just giving out offers. We want to get deals, right? So if you don't have anything structured, it's going to be very hard to compete with other people who do have a process. But after you learn this, you'll be able to contract one one deal for every 4 to 5 offers that you give the sellers. And that is the goal that we try to have with all of the clients, right? So like once you learn the sales process, it's going to be way easier for you to train on it and know exactly what you're doing right and what you are doing wrong. So with the conversion, like I said, you have a structured follow-up process, repeatable call framework, so you know exactly what to do. And you have clear qualification rules where if the person is not motivated, then you don't need to spend the time to talk to them at that moment. You can follow up later on. But we have defined KPIs at every stage. And that is exactly how we turn one contract for every 20 to 25 leads in order for us to make 15, 17, $20,000 per deal. Step 3 is going to come down to the deal and spread arbitrage. Now, like I was saying, most wholesalers only focus on cash deals, but not every seller wants that. So we still need to have a way where we can still make a deal happen. And that's when we introduce Novations. How do we make more money by still helping them solve their problem? And a lot of people think like, oh, why would you do innovation? Well, if we build the right report and we find out exactly what the issue is, they're going to trust us way more. And if we help them fix like all of the problems, they're going to want a solution. So like I said, it's all about making deals happen instead of just kind of giving out offers. So we teach you how to do that and how to protect your margin so you're making 15, 20 K per deal. And like I said, we'll go over like the motivation mapping, how the price anchoring works. That way you get a better deal, so that you actually protect your ROI. Because if you're just doing small deals, it's going to throw off like all the numbers. And the better that you get at this, the more money that you can make per deal, right? So after you set up the leads, the process, and the deal optimization, after we find out exactly what's working and if it's working, only then we start optimizing and scaling, right? Because we don't want to build our foundation and home like on sand. We want it to be solid, right? So after we know that the system works, that is exactly when we scale. Because at that point, it just becomes math. We know that we need to spend X amount on leads, X amount on how many appointments. We need to give out X amount of offers in order for us to get to our goal. Now, all of this is going to be dependent on what your goal is, right? But after you know exactly what is working, then you don't have to guess. You know exactly what you need to do. And when all of them are connected, it's as if you're Thanos in Avengers, where you have the Infinity Stones, and your business is finally going to scale, because you cannot have success without missing one of the pieces. Because if you're good at marketing but you're not good at sales, you're not gonna make money. Or maybe you're good at sales, but your marketing is not good, then that's going to affect how efficient you are in terms of your conversions. And I wanted to throw this out here. It's like, okay, how do you get consistent? Well, whatever your income goal is on a monthly basis, we can have a plan, right? So the things that we need to know, okay, like let's say you want to get to 50K a month and you know that your average deal size is $17,000 and you close on average 70% of the deals. That's the industry standard, meaning 20 or 30% are gonna fall out of contract because of title issues, seller change their mind, maybe you need extra repairs, whatever reason. So we need to account for a margin of error. But if like on Facebook, the leads to contract ratio is 20 to 25, depending on how good you are at sales. And we know that our average cost per lead is anywhere from $80 to $40, depending on the market. Then if we know that we want to get to 50K a month and our average cost per lead, let's say was $40, then in order for us to get to 50K a month, that means that we would need around 105 leads on a monthly basis so we can convert one contract for every 25 leads so we can close 3 deals at 17K that would make us 50K. So that means that we need to look up about 4 deals because probably one of them is going to fall through. So we need to be able that we still are spending the money needed in order for us to get to our goal. Because I don't care what any of the guru says that you can get into this with low money down. I just think for you to get consistent, you have to spend money, and that's the way that this business is. Maybe you get a couple deals like for free, but you're going to trade a lot of your time and effort for money. So what we want is to build something that's replicable. Because let's say that we spend this money on marketing, maybe spending 1,500, 2,000, right? Every time that we close a deal, that money is going to come back at all times. And once you know exactly what your weekly quota is in terms of leads, appointments, you can track it to see if you're on track, right? So if you made an appointment and you completed the appointment and you gave out the offer and you got a deal, now you're in the right track. Because if you're tracking your numbers and this is not on par, you need to know why that is happening. And like I said, you can go back into the calls and see what you missed, right? And it's only going to make you better. So in the future, you can train your team and they can just keep on following the process to make sure that they're held accountable. Because everything with wholesaling, it's all about numbers. It comes from leads to appointments, offers, and marketing spend. So I want you guys to type in the chat marketing if you understand the power of having a solid marketing structure and a solid deal structure. Good stuff, Emiliano. Good stuff, Paulo. Good stuff, Diego. Nice. I love that you guys are paying attention. Now, I know what you guys may be thinking. It's like, hey, Fidel, you know what? Yes, you're right. But my market is different. Or maybe you said, hey, I tried ads before, or that I don't want another system that doesn't work, or I don't want to deal with agencies. I want to address like all of these things because we basically become what we believe, right? So I wanna talk about some of these things, right? So if you say that your market is too competitive, we have ran this in California and any of the top markets. And the reason why they have success is because one, like once you understand fundamentally how to market and how to attract the sellers, it's all going to be about the ad. For example, let's say in California, you're trying to do Google PPC, a lead is going to cost you $500, right? So your cost per contract is going to be anywhere from $5,000 to $17,000. But if you ran a good ad on Facebook, you can get that same lead for 50 to 75% off because it's all dependent on how good your ads are. So we are more strategic instead of just dumping more money in marketing. And the cool thing with like the ads is you can still have a smaller budget and still reach the right audience without having to spend a whole lot of money. And that's the power of running good ads. And some people are like, hey, like I don't have the time to learn how to run ads. Well, like I said, you don't have to become a professional media buyer. All you need is 1 to 2 hours a week to make it work. And after you understand how we do it, because we teach you how to do it, then you can just plug and play it into your business. And like I said, all you need to do is to be able to launch, diagnose, and scale it. So like I said, you don't have to do it on your own. We're going to help you how to do that. Or you may be saying like, hey, I tried other marketing channels before and it didn't work. Like I was saying, like it's all based on numbers. All marketing works. It's all about like what is the angle that we're pushing, what is our marketing channel giving us, and what is our structure into how we are doing these things, right? But the reason why I like Facebook is because they're coming to you instead of you having to chase after them or have to wait, so many weeks if you're like sending postcards or something. Because it's not about just like getting more leads. It's about having a system that actually produces deals and produces conversations. Because the more good conversations you have, the more likelihood you have of, like I said, getting a deal. And once you understand those fundamentals, you know exactly what works. That way, it's repeatable, and that's how you get ownership instead of just like keeping on hustling, right? And the reason why I prefer inbound over outbound is that with inbound, sellers come in warmer because now they're coming to you instead of you chasing after them. And depending on how good you are with the ads and our funnel, the sellers are going to trust you more because we're focusing on intent and trust and rapport building. And the conversations are just going to be way easier since they are coming directly to you. So that helps you with negotiation, and like I said, you don't need to have a massive business. You just need to have the right system. So you work smarter. You don't have to work longer or harder. Now, I'm not saying that this is going to be the easiest thing. It's still going to challenge you, but now we have a better structure. Um, and I want to talk about how we help the wholesalers to actually scale. So we have two programs that are 6 months, where the goal is that you actually take implementation and you actually get the skill transfer, because information is now everywhere. What people need help with is with the implementations to make sure that they are doing things correctly and they're focusing on the right things within the business. And this is exactly how we help people scale their business. So how do we help people implement this? So one, we have a consultation call where we review your current marketing situation, how much capital you have to invest in marketing, what is your average deal size, what are your metrics, in order for us to reverse engineer that into a goal like with KPIs. So like once we have a complete goal and plan, we can follow it as long as we have a proper goal, right? So like going to the gym, you can, like if you're trying to get abs, of course, you need to track your macros, do your protein, go to the gym, sleep, do your steps, right? It's not going to happen if you are just like, oh, let me think about going to the gym, right? Of course, you need to put in the time and the effort. But what I'm trying to get with this is like, we can only get there if we have a plan, what I was saying earlier. And we set everything up for like 6 months, right? Because we know that it's going to take time for you to, get the deals, get the knowledge, and make sure that it's actually consistent. And we give you full course, not just on the marketing side, but on the sales, KPIs, dispo, how to set up the proper foundation with your business so that you, one, can hire the right people and actually attract people that want to work for you and help you scale, right? And like once all of these things are implemented correctly, that's how you get to 3, 4, 5, 10 deals a month. Because now we're covering all of the bases, not just the marketing and the sales, but also the dispo, the negotiating, the deal underwriting, all that stuff, because it all works together. And like I said, we have a ton of modules from setting the foundation to unlocking your mind, because the biggest thing that's going to make you successful is going to be your mindset. And if that is not correct, you're not going to crush, right? But we have everything from the Facebook marketing to the sales process to tracking your KPIs so that you actually, get the full implementation, the skill transfer. You also get the community with myself and the other top wholesalers that we help. And you can ask questions, every day. We're here to help you to make sure that you actually, get the results, right? And like I said, we do the KPI setup and teach you exactly how to track the numbers so that you know what your cost per lead is, what your cost per contract is, what your offer ratio is, and all of the deal met in order for you to get to your goal. Because we're not hoping, we're building a real plan to make sure that that actually happens so that our chances of actually hitting that, are way higher. And like I said, we guide you into like what to do, how to do it, and then we are with you each step of the way to make sure that it happens. Think of us as, we're going into this next to you because this has already been said and proven to work. You just need to follow on the right things, right? So we do have two programs. We have the core program, and that's usually geared towards the people who are trying to get to 10K a month to like 30K a month. And then we have our founder program, where it's for people who are maybe already at 20, 30K a month. They want to get to 40, 50, 60, 100K a month. We have, these services for both of them. With both, of course, you're going to get all of the modules, the scripts, all that stuff. It's just that the founder program is just more one-to-one to make sure that you actually crush and that you have us right next to you to answer the questions. And then the core program is more so, group calls. You're going to get 4 group calls with both of them, one with my team, one with me, to make sure that you actually crush it. So we have these 2 available for the both of you guys if we end up working together. But really what you are getting is the skill that actually runs a wholesaling business. And once you own it and learn it, you don't have to second guess again, and you won't need another agency to run your ads because now you know exactly what is working and what needs to happen in order for you to get to your goal. And I put this thing here, testimonial from our client Eduardo, because he's now hitting $80,000 per month in just a few short months of us working together. So before he was doing cold calling and texting and all of that. And, I'm super proud of him because he has worked very hard. But overall, he was saying that, the quality of the calls with the seller, they're more like pain-based and they have way better conversations with the people. And him learning the sales process, he was actually able to train his team so that they could help him look up more deals. And like I said, everything combined together is what helped him get to 80K a month. So if you guys are still here, that says something, that you guys are asking questions and paying attention. And I know that you guys are not looking for another coaching program from another guru and all that. I know that you guys want something that is scalable and optimized. That's why I dove deep into each of the components that are actually going to give you results. Because like I said, once you have the numbers and you know exactly what to focus on, it's just going to make it way easier. And that is exactly why I built this. Because like I said, going from all the mistakes and all the losses, it took me a lot of time and money and effort to get here. So like I said, I just want to be able to help as many as you guys. Now, as far as investment, of course, let's talk about that because, of course, systems like this aren't free. That's why we have 2 programs. But what is most costly is not getting to your goal, right? Because if you are at 10K a month and you want to get to 30K a month over a whole year, it's costing you $20,000 per month by not learning how to do that. And if you knew that you have the mindset onto doing it, I mean, why wouldn't you do it, right? So the cool thing is like it's all about skill transfership. It's not about us like keeping you like longer. Like our goal is for you to learn it. And if you want to keep working with us, we can still do that. But like I said, we want to set you guys up with the proper foundation, and it's going to cost you way less than making mistakes or having to hire an agency. So like I said, this is built for people who want to get predictability and scale the right way. Like I said, you get the 6 months, about skill ownership, and then we can still keep on working together if you choose to after. And it's about building something that actually lasts. And today we're including 2 fast action bonuses for the people who take action after this training. So number 1, you're going to have a strategy call with me where we're going to review your market, your business, your numbers. We're going to build a plan into what we need to work on. And you're going to have way more clarity on what you need to do in order to get to your goal, whether we end up working together or not. You're going to be able to know exactly what you need to focus on. So that's what we are including today. And the bonus too is we're going to help you launch your first Facebook ad campaign once we launch, right? Because we want to be sure that everything is done properly. We set it up properly because if you mess this up, I mean, they can ban your account or your ads won't run. So we are offering this to you guys. If you guys book a call for us to kind of dissect everything with your business, we'll help you, 1, have that consultation call with me, and 2, we'll launch your campaign if we end up working together. And something that's super important to me is keeping the quality of the people that we help high, because I really value anyone that comes and works with us, right? We do want to help it, and we spend a lot of time with the students, so we don't take on unlimited students, and it's not like a fixed scarcity. It's just like something that I truly value. So we just want to keep it engaging with everyone and make sure that we actually help you, make money. So we don't open it like for everyone. It's something that we actually really value. So if you are interested in hearing how we can help you, we're gonna put a link in the chat here. Like I said, we can talk numbers, and if we work together, great. If not, no problem. But at least you'll leave with some clarity. I know Paulo is probably going to put it there in the chat. But now I want to spend some time going over some questions that you guys may have. I don't know if there's anything that you have a question on what I went over, maybe something within your business that you are struggling with. We can chop it up. What about you, Tifo? You have a question? Ricky, iPhone 41, Diego, Emiliano. You guys have any questions? Anything going on in your business that you think is your biggest bottleneck? Ricky, okay. Let me go ahead, Ricky.
Hey, Fidel, thank you for putting that through and just kind of going everything one by one.
Of course, man.
Um, Question on I think I got a little late. I had to drive home, but how does your team look right now? I think I overheard you say, you know, probably this year you'll end up doing maybe around seven figures or so. How many team members do you think is needed to kind of get to that price point?
Yeah, it's gonna depend on the market because our average deal size is like $17,000. So if you're in California, of course, it's gonna change. That's gonna change. But in our business, we have two lead managers. So a lead manager, like all the inbound leads that come in, their job is to set appointments for my closers, which I have two closers. So I have two lead managers, I have two closers, and then each of them are responsible for the lead managers to making 10 appointments a week. And then each closer has to go through those 10 appointments a week. And then we have one dispo person, and then we have a third party TC where we pay her commission per deal. So we're like 5 to 6 person team.
Okay. And then when you guys maybe like I don't know if you do any flipping or if it's just wholesaling on
I don't
that
I don't flip anymore since I lost all that money. If I got scarred.
mhm.
Um, I, I just don't think I'm that good at construction. And I figured out like, hey, like if I do a flip, even like I could do like 4, 5, 6 other wholesale deals in that time frame that it takes me, if I can just focus on like more deals. But the cool thing with this is like if you want to flip and you're really good at flips, then if you want to go in person and meet the sellers, like you don't need to have a huge budget because now you can control more of the levers within the actual business, right? So the cool thing is like once you own the lead, you can do whatever you want. Like if you put in the contract, you can wholesale it, you can wholesale it, you can flip it, you can buy it, sub to, all that stuff.
Okay. Yeah, well, I know probably something me or maybe other people too. I need to probably try more of the Novation side. I think I overheard you say you do that too.
Yeah.
Um, with y'all's training, I missed the slide a little bit, but I'm assuming you guys can help out with maybe like lead manager scripts
Yep.
and
Yeah, we have all
possible
that
like
stuff. We have all
okay.
that stuff, the contracts, how we go about pitching the innovation. Because something that I found like a lot of people are afraid to pitch it, or they're like, hey, what if the seller just says that they're gonna list it with an agent?
Hmm.
I think over 100 innovations that I've done, like they maybe told me that once.
Mm.
Because if you truly focus on what the pain point is, and you're like, okay, well, for cash, like I said, we're gonna be here, close quick, no repair, no commissions. And then whenever we pitch innovation, it's like, hey, let's say we are not at their number, and it's like, well, seems like this number is important to you. We do have a way that we can get close to that. I don't know if you're gonna like it. We don't offer it to everyone. Um, and then we ask them like, hey, if we were able to pay a little bit more money, would you be interested in hearing like how we help you? And they're like, oh yeah, sure, okay. Yeah, so basically with this program, like all we would need is a little bit more access into the property and for you to be flexible on the closing timeline. Now I know that I said that we're gonna close in 21 to 30 days, but if I was able to offer you more, would you be flexible on, allowing us to market the property and flexible on the closing timeline? They'll be like, oh yeah, sure. And then we'll kind of just dive into, okay, we were here with the cash and you're over here. I mean, what's the minimum that you would take? And we just kind of keep on negotiating. But if we did our job properly in finding the motivation and the future state and influencers and all that stuff, then they are going to, of course, trust us more because now we're solving a problem. It's just not a commodity where like, oh, an agent is going to list it for you. Now, if you're an agent, you can still list it if the innovation doesn't work. So since you own the lead, you choose whatever it is that you want to do.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think I agree on that standpoint. Okay, sweet. I appreciate you kind of sharing that with me.
Yeah, of course, man. Diego asked, what do you recommend you do since you're in Illinois, but you want to do virtual wholesaling. I mean, you can do nationwide and you can do all that stuff. If you do nationwide across like different markets, the lead to contract is probably gonna go up a little bit, but it's okay because the bigger that your marketing radius is, the lower your cost per lead is going to be. So although you may need a little bit more leads, your cost was going to be significantly lower than if you only focus on one market. But yeah, you can do virtual wholesaling anywhere. Just be be sure to choose like the right markets. Where the main things that I look at when it comes to choosing a market, the main thing is okay, what is the days on market? Meaning on average, like if you look at the MLS on that area, how many days does it take on average for a property to sell? And we want to be somewhere where it takes, 60 days or less, ideally between 60 and 90, because that's telling us that the market is hot, especially right now there's a lot of stuff going on where markets are slow and shit is happening. We want to be in a market where stuff is selling. So if we have that, that tells us that, stuff is moving, investors are buying, there's buyers, buying properties. Second of all, would be we want to have a minimum, like medium price of at least $250,000 because if we focus on markets that are too cheap, that's why our assignment fees are low, right? But if we have a average medium price of 250, then we can still, put in a novation and make 15, 20K per deal. And then the third thing would be a population of at least $500,000 to a million. I'm not sorry, not dollars, but of people, 500,000 people or a million people. Because if you go like too rural, like you may not be able to sell the deal quick enough and stuff. So those are the main three things: days on market, median house price, and population. And if you can do your backyard, I mean, I'm more proponent of that because you have better resources, you know the market a little bit more, and then you have more like boots on the ground. But you can do your market and then something else too. Yeah. Uh, on a monthly basis, Ricky, okay. I would say, of course, it depends on the market. We just need to reverse engineer like what the goal is, right? But anyone that we take on, probably like at the lowest, I would say $1,500 if you're doing like multiple markets. And then if you're doing your main market, I would say like at least $2,000 to like $2,500. That's what I would recommend. That way that gets you like one or two deals. And you want to have the budget so that you can spend it for like 2, 3 months because it's going to take some time before the deals actually close because of the cash conversion cycle. Because the moment that you spend money on marketing, it's going to take a few days before you produce the leads, and then a few other days before you contact them and put them on the contract. So once it's on the contract before it sells, and it's probably going to be 60, 45, 60 days. So what we want is to start compounding the deal so that by month 2, 3, you're already getting closings and getting your ROI back, and you just keep on spending the money. It's kind of like putting a dollar into the ATM and getting $10 back. We want to do that as much as we can. Yep, yep, yeah. I would say 2,000 at least one deal. Of course, it's gonna depend on your sales skills and all that, but I would say $2,000 with Facebook. That's more or less what we're seeing. Anyone else, guys? Paulo put the link there if you guys want to book a call. We can break it down for your business, make sure it works. What about you, Theo? iPhone 41, I know you told me your name, but forgot, I'm sorry. Emiliano, Defoy, you guys have any more questions? All right, guys, just tell me what the biggest bottleneck in your business is right now. We can dissect it too. Dun, dun. Go ahead, Ricky.
Yeah, on the The bottleneck that I have is probably more consistent leads. I've been running a lot of marketing and cold calling where I try to save as much money as I can and outsource my own callers in the Philippines and put them on a dialer. But even like you said earlier, it's getting less and less leads just due to the TCPA stuff and
Yeah.
we're even very niche on our data like probate and foreclosure and stuff. And then just recently with that iPhone updated, not everyone's answering the phone to be honest. So we have to double dive them, run the campaign again. And I think right now I'm paying like I would say 750 a caller, and I've got three callers, and our dialer is probably like 450. So even just marketing spend on cold calling minimum is 2,500, and it's outbound versus inbound. So we're
Yeah.
not. I think it's going to probably be more better for us to just turn that off and switch to Facebook. Honestly.
Yeah, like I would have turned it off completely without knowing what the conversion or the ROI is from that. Because if it's still working, I mean, we want to add on to it, right? But I would love for you to kind of book a call and kind of break it down because it's all going to be on a deal like person by person basis. And you said you're in Central Texas, right?
Yeah, Central Texas, we're like this. I think the total metropolitan area is like maybe 400,000 residents population wise. So
Is that
it's
like
a
Austin, San Antonio?
yeah. So it's 30 minutes from Austin. I think like I would say probably 100 miles of a circle on a certain area, and I think there's maybe like 300,000 homes in the area. Average sales price is like right around 300K.
Yeah.
So it kind of meets what you were saying earlier, where not the cheap houses, and maybe not like $5 million price point. Also,
Are you an agent as well?
I know, no, but my wife is an agent, so we can
Okay.
kind of double dip a bit.
Yeah, so I mean that's so good because we have a lot of clients in Texas, and then I mean I live in Texas, so like we know the Texas market really well. Um, Austin is like its own little monster, but I mean there's ways to go about it, right? And then like I said, you can do deals with this like anywhere. So yeah, we know Texas. Texas is good, and if your wife plays an agent, you can still like have a listing, make 5-6%, still good because the lead's gonna cost you probably like 30-40 bucks. And then let's say you are cost per contract $1,000, like once you dial it in, and then a commission if you're making like if she makes like 5-6K, I mean that's still like a 4x. But if you guys do like a hotel or like a wholesale, it can be 10, 15, 20K. And that's when the true ROI kind of comes from.
Yeah,
Because yeah.
we do flip out here, and we when we run our numbers, she's automatically getting 3% on the sales side and 3% to the buyer, whoever comes to buy it. But I think to really scale things up is I need to pitch Novations. I just get a little, uh, just not. I probably am not saying it correctly. People get more confusion out of the conversation than anything, so I probably need to clean that up.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. And we teach you how to do it because we do probably like 70% innovations and like 30% wholesales. But that's because I prefer it, right? Because for me with wholesale is like I rather make a little bit more like in a longer like time frame with the innovation where I can double what the assignment fee would be. But you can still wholesale because it's going to be quicker. But you can just take it on a deal by deal basis. Like if there's like a hot area, of course you can do that. But it's all about how you position the solution that's going to, you know, get you the deal. But we could help with that. Um, what else? Deals. Uh, Amir. Okay, Amir's a flipper getting to wholesaling. Okay. Dun dun dun. Arizona's there's a lot of people trying to do deals there. So I think if you go after like a top market, it can still happen, but you just need to be very good at sales. I would choose like something that is maybe something outside of like Phoenix would be okay. But like the top wholesalers are in Arizona, right? Like
who is it, like, Eric Klein, the guys from Investor Lift are there. The Doug, who's one of the biggest buyers, is there. So you deal with people that are like treat this like professionally, so it just makes it hard. But it's still doable. Defoy, do you only present novations to the seller after the cash offer fails through? Yep. No, not after it falls through. Like if they don't take the offer when we're with them over the phone, we will propose it. Like, because like once we give out the offer, we're not gonna give them our max allowable offer from the like our first offer is going to be below that because we want like to come up because we give them our best offer from the get-go. They're gonna think like, oh, there's more, right? Maybe I can get a better deal. So we always start low and then be like, oh, what if I was able to do, like 5K more, 10K more, would this change anything? And it's like a smaller price anchor. And then if they're not budging and be like, oh, okay, not even if we got close to like your MAO, then they'll be like, oh, okay, no. And then that's kind of when you position it. But you do need to anchor. That way their expectation kind of drops a little bit because of course we still gotta make money, especially like in this market. But yeah, first we do the offer and then we do the novation. And that tends to do it. Like I said, 3 and 4 would do it. And do we structure the deal for the end buyer? We don't. So what we do is we select strategic realtors that work with investors. And then what we do is we only let people in if they are pre-approved or they have like the money, like the proof that they can purchase a property. So we're not gonna let people in if they are not pre-approved or are qualified. But the agent helps a lot with that. We just kind of give them the framework. So right now we spend around $8,000. We get like 7 to 10 deals depending on the month. Our cost per contract is pretty low, like 1,000 to like $1,200. Some months it's cheaper. It just depends on how good the sales team is. But like something that I have been focusing on for the last few months is the team, like focusing on the team. Something that we found was that they were not digging deep for the motivation, where they were just taking stuff for face value. And I'm like, guys, like this is where we make the money, like asking for the motivation, and we ask it like 4, 5, 6 different times, and what their future state is, because that's truly when it becomes emotional. And we don't want it to be logical or transactional. We want it to be emotional, and that's exactly how we do that. And then we make a team. We position our offer as the solution to that thing that they're going through, and that's how we get deals. But yeah, we have a good ROI on that. Before it used to be like 5K cost per contract when I was running PPC and direct mail and all of that. And we're still kind of making around the same per deal. So we're just a little bit more efficient. And that way I don't have to run like a huge business. I don't know, just for me and more so after kind of going through those losses with the flips, I'm a little bit more like risk adverse. But as we ramp it up, like we'll spend a little bit more. But I'm enjoying kind of where we're at right now. Well, if you guys don't have any more questions, thank you guys for spending the hour with me. You'll still get a link to your email if you guys want to book a call. But with that being said, if you guys don't have anything else, hope you guys have a good night. Thank you guys. Of course, Diego. All right, guys. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
So there you have it, guys. Thanks for watching the video. If you're interested in any of our programs, we have the Facebook module where you can learn exactly how to run this into your business. And we have the one-on-one with me for me to help you get to 50K a month or $100,000 every single month. Make sure you like the video and subscribe. And for you guys watching the video, I'm going to include the same bonuses that I did in the training. If you guys book a call, just click on the link down below and we'll be sure to map your strategy call with me. And then we're also going to launch your ads together with you. So with that being said, make sure you subscribe and I'll catch you in the next video. Thank you.